on the spot. Alfonso, wink, wink. Could you say the prayer? So, thank you for that. So we have a few announcements before we get into the actual seminar itself. We have an ACMS announcement, and then we have Christian that will be giving us an announcement as well. So ACMS representatives who are doing the announcement, come on up.
So one quick announcement, tonight is our opening social. There will be food provided. It will be in this room. The food starts at 5:30, correct? Then afterwards there will be an info session with Layton Construction. We're very grateful for their time and for everything. Thank you. But that's it.
Hi everyone, I'm in the ACMS Council. I work with the advertisement and social media chairs to kind of get you some information out. So the department has planned a trip next month with U of U, the University of Utah's Master of Real Estate Development Program. And so we were able to put this together in the last few weeks, and there's still a couple spots left. What that entails is basically a trip to Vegas, and you get to join U of U students and their director and a few other alumni there and faculty members that are going to participate in the largest real estate development symposium in the world. And so there's hundreds upon hundreds of different companies that show up. There's a lot of great opportunity for networking, getting to know people, and if you even have an interest in real estate or real estate development, that would be a great thing to do. The director there, the school, the faculty, they really, really enjoy having us around, and they work really well with different programs in our program here as well. So that's open. I'm going to put it on the Facebook page, and if you guys are interested in it, there's still a couple seats open that we need to fill, or we'd like to fill. We don't need to fill them, but we would like to. And just message me through the Facebook profile, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can with any answers and information. So, thank you.
Thank you for those announcements. And you know, we really have a lot of great opportunities here in the program, so if you aren't taking advantage of them, please do so. Many of these trips are actually partially funded by the school or by the ACMS, so make sure and do that. And then secondly, just make sure and sign up for the ACMS. I mean, right off the bat, you get your money back. I think it's like a $15 fee or something like that. And you get well over that, and you get a lot of networking opportunities. So appreciate those announcements. Before we get into announcing Layton Construction and specifically Whitney Walter, next week we're going to hear from Scott Olson from Steel Encounters. They'll be talking about curtain wall glazing systems, so the outsides of buildings, and some of the code requirements and what they do. So that'll be a great opportunity. And without further ado, we'd like to introduce Whitney Walter. Whitney has over 10 years of industry experience and is Layton's youngest first female vice president. Whitney co-led the firm's acquisition of Fernandez & Sons General Contractors and leads Layton's San Jose office, business development, and pre-construction activities. In the past 2 years, she secured Layton's largest construction management 4-fee project, generated $400 million in new contracts, and executed 20 new projects with 3 major health systems in the region. Whitney was recently recognized as ENR's California Top Young Professional, as well as Silicon Valley Business Journal Woman of Influence. So join with me in introducing Whitney.
Got it. Man, I sound good on paper. Now you guys get to judge me in person. So thanks for having me. Adam, for reaching out a few months ago. Been kind of busy, but finally made it. Flew in from Pasadena last night. And then my lovely colleagues, we have Guy Hill in the back. Where's Guy? There he is. He's waving. Make sure you see Guy Hill before you leave. I'm going to speak to a lot about what I do, but I'm also going to involve him where I can. He is an alumni from here, so we are so glad he was here today. And then Jared, he's head of our HR, and his daughter, Brianna. She's actually the one who's leading the show. I'm just filling in. So, how many people have heard of Layton? Good. We were just sharing that we should have more buildings on this campus that we've built for you, but we'll work on that at a later date. So we are a $2 billion construction manager. We are working in over 36 states, I think, 36, 32. And we have just recognized as the 6th largest healthcare builder in the country. So we are really proud of that. We do have multiple business segments within our company. We have corporate, healthcare, tenant improvement, some other business units, but I'm over our healthcare group, so a lot of what I'm going to speak to today is maybe healthcare centered, but it's construction management at the end of the day. So I had lunch with a lot of your faculty and was asking them the question. So most of you have heard of, superintendents, estimators, BIM managers, modelers. How many people have heard of business development as an actual role in the construction industry? A couple. Okay. So I know, same thing. No one knew. So I'm going to enlighten you guys a little bit today about what business development is and how important it is to grow in the business. And actually, the operations teams don't have a project to build if we don't have business development. So the definition of business development, and by the way, please stop me at any point, raise your hand, ask a question. I just have a handful of slides. It's not a big to-do. So I'd rather you guys stop me and ask a question than wait till the end, okay? So business developers, we are dedicated employees who secure contracts and projects for our firm. So basically what that means is it's my job to go find a job with a client, find work, and close the deal so that I then throw it over to the operations teams, the superintendents, the project managers, the estimators, so that they then have something to go build. So I'm at the front lines of cultivating relationships, getting in the door with clients to grow our business. So it's a little bit about me. I'm going to step back so I can see this. I just got it like an hour ago. So born in Memphis, Tennessee, which some folks have already realized, I'm from the South. I did not go to school for construction management. I went to school to be a pilot. So what's important today that I wanted to share with you guys is that even though my career path has not been the standard, go to school for construction management, go into project engineering, maybe estimating, go to the field side, maybe find your way up as a VP. I am a VP and have no construction management experience. So my story is rare and it's unique, but anyone who has ambition and perseverance can do it. So 1989, 6 years old here. My mom wanted me to cheer. She wanted me to dance. I didn't want to do any of those things. I wanted to play football. So I did. And I'm 6 years old here in this photograph, and I, at an early age, learned that just because I was a female didn't really mean anything. If I wanted to play with the boys, then I could play with the boys. The majority of the boys on the team didn't have a problem with it. There was a handful that absolutely despised the thought of me being on the team. But for the most part, it wasn't a problem. So gender equality, a lot of folks like to talk about that in the construction industry. We love getting more women in the business, but I've always believed that my gender has set me apart. It's never been a deficit to me. So played football, went to school, Middle Tennessee. So I moved to Nashville, Tennessee, enrolled at Middle Tennessee State University, went to their aviation pro pilot career, and did that for 4 years. I worked full-time. I was in school full-time. I was a master procrastinator. C+ student at best. I just didn't love studying. I liked to talk, right? Meet people, right? So it was kind of just a talent. Left school, went to work for Continental Airlines for a little bit. There, I was running payroll from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. in the mornings, but then had to find another job to make ends meet. So 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. I was working at Continental Airlines running payroll. And then from 7 or 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., I was working for an architectural design firm in their marketing department. Had no idea even what marketing meant, but it was a job. It was paying $28,000 at the time. Needed 2 jobs to keep me away from having to go back home, move in with the parents, so I did it. So for about 2 years, I worked these 2 jobs. It was rough. 2 a.m. to 7 p.m. most days was a lot, but I did it, and it really grounded me in saying, okay, do I want to stay in aviation? Do I want to go to the design and construction field? What do I want to do? Now it's time to make a change, because I didn't have enough hours in the day. 2 a.m. to 7 p.m. was too much. So then around 2006, I began working for a design firm in their marketing department, which meant I was writing proposals and brochures, helping put together signs as such, saying how great we were and why everyone should choose us. And then found myself broke still. On the design side, they don't pay as well as the construction side. That was back then. It's better today. So for those of you who are in the architecture side, that's a good thing. Found myself in kind of still struggling to make ends meet, and went to the construction management side. They offered me maybe double what my salary was at the time to do business development. Well, what the heck's business development? Talk to people, get work, have a little bit of fun. Okay, sign me up. So I really didn't know what I was signing up for, but I did that. I worked with them for 6 years. Layton Construction reaches out to me and wants me to move to Utah. Honestly, I had never left the state of Tennessee at the age of 24. Never. And here's this company from Utah. What? Who? Where? Utah. Okay. So I was married at the time. My husband, I'm like, hey, we're moving to Utah. He's like, sounds good. They have snow, but I can ski and snowboard every day. Sounds good to me. So we did that. So I went to work for Layton. That was a big risk for me. I was moving across the country to work for a company. I knew a little bit about Layton, but I knew nothing about the industry there. I didn't know how they ran work on the West Coast. I didn't have any clients. I didn't have a network. I didn't have architects, engineers. I had no family and had no one. But I said, well, if it doesn't work, I can always go back, right? There's always a way back home. So I took a risk, moved to Utah, and 4 years now, I've been with Layton, one of the most incredible companies I've worked for. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not LDS, so I was concerned about that. I was like, okay, how am I going to fit in? I do come in with coffee, and I do talk about what are we doing later. But they, yeah. So they never once treated me any differently. And I didn't know what to expect. Again, it was just a risk I took, and I thought, I'm just going to be me, because me is the best I can be, right? And so quickly, 18 months at Layton, they offered me ownership. They offered me a VP position, moved to Northern California, run our first acquisition. And I'm thinking, wow, okay, I'm the youngest owner, the only female vice president in the history of the company, and now you want me to go run an acquisition. Felt like I had the biggest bullseye on my back of like, okay, what else can she do right or wrong? But it worked out really well. We are now the fastest growing office in the history of our company so far. We went from 20 million to 400 million in 2 years, just in our office in California. So who would have thought? A girl playing football with a public education, C+ student at best, master procrastinator, has found myself here at Layton Construction. So, business development. What is business development? So this is a little snapshot of what some of our typical responsibilities are. You can read these. I would say the biggest things are research and development. Okay, we want to build hospitals across the country, so I had to research who are the top healthcare providers in the country, and who do we want to do business with, okay? Here's the top 5. Now, who are the people within those prospective companies who oversee design and construction on their campuses, right? It's a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys are going to be a client one day. You're going to be running work on active campuses, and you're going to be the client. And you're going to have architects and engineers and contractors coming to you wanting to get your work. So I had to focus on who are those people and cultivate relationships with them. Gain their respect, gain their trust, become a friend to them, become a partner, someone who provides value. Cold calling, we still do. Sometimes it's not as fun, but you got to pick up the phone and call somebody sometimes. Training, mentors. You seek out a mentor now if you haven't already, life coaches, whatever it may be. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it was not for all the mentors in my life. Every time I went to an internship, like I know we have a few of your folks who've interned with us before. Many of you, I hope to see you at one of our offices soon. But when you're there, find someone you can relate to, someone who you can trust, and someone that you can just share your deepest, darkest secrets with and say, these are my strengths and these are my weaknesses and this is what I want to do. How can you help me? Seek those people out. We have them all across our company, and they will be the differentiators in your career if you can find people who kind of already paved the way that you're going and can help you make sure you stay in those bumpers and don't get out of line. Writing proposals, what that means is when I meet a client, cultivate a relationship, he has a $100 million job on his campus, and so then I have to say, okay, when the request for proposal comes out, we would like a shot at building that job. So then this thing called an RFP comes out, request for proposal. It comes out, it asks a lot of company information, it asks who your team is, it asks what your experience is, it wants to know how you do what you do. Lots of detailed information. You have to write that. So the marketing and business development staff are writing all this up, telling the client basically how the operations team is going to execute the job, what our price is, what the schedule looks like, all that goes in there. Then you usually get shortlisted. So they may start off with 5 general contractors, then you submit a proposal, shortlist to 2, maybe 3, and now you're having to get up and interview in front of owners. Then you're having to tell them who you are. They're engaging you, your personality. They want to know, is this someone I can work with for the next 2-3 years on this project? So then you interview, and then you wait, and you wait, and you wait on the call. It feels like days. It's usually weeks. Did you win the job or not? And I will tell you, 1 out of 10 you'll win, at best. I mean, there's sometimes you might win 1 out of 50, and it hurts. And it's because it's so much time and effort and energy that you put into these people, into their businesses, into the proposals, and you want to win, but you're not always going to win. So you got to be able to shake it off and keep going. Not everybody can do that. But that is a couple of roles and responsibilities of a business development person. Now, just because I'm a full-time business development person doesn't mean everyone else in the company doesn't have a responsibility to business development. Guy Hill is a great example. He's a senior project manager in our Denver office. He moved out there to work for one client. He cultivated a great relationship with that client that alluded to more work. We went from a $5 million job. Now he's executed over $250 million worth of work in Denver over a couple years. And because he's executed and done a really good job and cultivated really good relationships, now he's working for 3 or 4 people in the Denver market, right? So he's a senior project manager. Though he's not dedicated to business development, he does spend quite a bit of time doing business development. Even a project superintendent, so 3 to 6%. If I tell a client, if I go sell the deal and say, okay, client, we're going to build it in 24 months for $10 million, and the superintendent struggles or he doesn't have his things in order and his estimating team's not supporting him, his project manager's too busy with other things, if you come in at double the time and double the money, guess what? We're not going to get another job with those people. So everyone is responsible for business development. How many people would like to be like in the field side, like superintendent, project engineer, field? Okay, how about like the management side? And senior PM. So I would encourage you, if business development or the management side is of interest to you, I would encourage you to go to the field first, even if it's just for 2 years. Getting that hands-on experience in the field, working with those teams, understanding the technical aspects of construction will be so valuable for you. I didn't get to do that, and I still have succeeded, if you will, in construction, but I do wish I would have had that time in the field with folks to really understand technically how a building is built from the ground up. Because I just sell the deal on the front end, and then I come in every couple of months and check in on it. I'm not there every day watching it go up. So as you can see here, everyone in the company is responsible for business development at some level. And sounds like, even from your council meetings, that you guys are heavy on social media, which is positive, because social media is also business development. You know, surely we're going to take a selfie by the end of the day, and then we're going to tweet it out that Leighton was with you guys today. And that is social media. It's business development. It's marketing. It's recruitment. It's saying that, you know what, 4 professionals from Leighton Construction came here today to engage you guys and to say, you know, here's what we do, and we want to be advocates for you however we can to help you understand what we do so that you can make better decisions as you go out into the world and get a job in construction or architecture, whatever it may be. So social media is very important, you know, tweeting. And also, you know, I'm sure you hear it all the time from your moms, because she still calls me about it. Whatever you're putting out there today, you know, will follow you. Everyone says that. So, you know, maybe you start your own professional Twitter account, maybe instead of your personal one, and a way to just differentiate your personal life from your professional life. But the number one social media aspect for business would be LinkedIn. How many people have a LinkedIn account? Yes, love that. There's tons of people in my company who still don't have LinkedIn. I Google their name and I'm like, what the heck, why aren't you here? 3 out of 4 business people use LinkedIn. There is a student here, Sophia. What's her last name, Adam? Sophia is now interning with us in Utah. And I ran past her little desk this week and she was like, wait, you used to have blonde hair. I'm like, yeah, I did. She was like, you helped me get on in an internship with Leighton. And I was like, wow, how'd that happen? She's like, I messaged you on LinkedIn and you got back to me. And so I started to ponder, what does that mean for you? Her message to me on LinkedIn, I get 50 messages on LinkedIn a day. It could be, I want a job with you. It could be, I want to do business with you. I want to sell you something. Her message said, hey, Whitney, I'm at BYU. I'm a student. I'm wanting to internship. Here are the companies I've interned with before. So she highlighted some big names, Jacobson, Big D, whomever. And she said, I know you're busy, but I would really love to have an opportunity to meet with whoever it is. If you just tell me their name, I'll reach out to them. And so I did. I said, Jared Smith, here's his email. And she did it. And we never followed up. I had no idea she came to work as an intern at Leighton, but passed her last week in the office when I was in Utah, and it was exciting because, I mean, think about it. I'm in California. She's in Rexburg. Next thing you know, she's an intern with us in Utah. And the point is that's a great example of business development. You build your network, you make contacts, you follow up, you connect the dots, you find a way to get in. You know, she knew, I guess, someone educated her. Maybe it was you guys. You know, if you're going to reach out and ask for internships, maybe these are some pointers on how you should structure your email or your message so that someone responds. 64%. Anytime I have a new client, I immediately go look them up on LinkedIn. Joe Smith with Kaiser. I will immediately go to Google, look up Joe Smith with Kaiser, and I do some homework. Who is Joe? Where was he raised? Is he from the South? Did he go to Middle Tennessee? Did he go to BYU? Who did he work for? You know, he's an owner now. Usually owners worked for a construction company in the past, so don't ever make enemies. Your competitors will sometime at some point be your client. So being able to connect those dots and keep up with people. Twitter and Facebook are also both well received in the social media industry, but I would absolutely say focus on your LinkedIn profiles and make them, you're selling yourself. Sometimes you got one chance to sell yourself, so make it good, make it meaningful. There are 2 types of business development roles in the architecture, engineering, and construction industry. There is a model of a sole business developer, like myself, and then there's a model of a doer seller. So Guy Hill, he is a senior project manager. He's a doer. He does the work, but then he's also selling the work in the meantime. So a lot of companies have this doer-seller model. Business development sole professionals weren't as popular 10 years ago. Now they're much more popular, but it was always a doer-seller because firms believed, well, you're just going to go talk about something, and then when the client asks you a tough question, you're not going to know how to answer it. So that doesn't work. So we need people who can actually do the work, who can actually sell the work, so that when the client asks tough questions, you can answer. So that's when I would just encourage the BD people who are only business developers to get educated. So when the client asks them those tough questions, they can respond in a technical manner and actually make sense. This little chart shows you construction, engineering, and architecture. You can see the 3 on the bottom. Increased use of full-time business development. Construction industry has the #1 use of full-time business developers in our industry. The architecture industry always lags behind. They just really believe in the doer-seller model. Just some good facts. Full-time business development people. So this is Leighton Construction. We have over 1,200 employees now. So we are at that 500 employee mark. 92% of firms our size have full-time business development people. At Leighton Construction, we have 6 business units. I would say we have 25 full-time BD people, business development people maybe. So the larger the firm, the more they need to get more work, right? I mean, we are building a lot of work. We need more people out getting work because it takes a lot of time. Percentage of firms still using the doer-seller role. So again, you see architecture, even engineering firms are really high on the percentages of doer-seller. The GCs, the construction management firms, are more on the lower end of that. Business development, the #1 thing about business development is relationships. If you don't have relationships, you don't have anything. I think that's life in general, but for sure, when trying to grow your brand in a market. So 48% of business development people never follow up. So what I mean by that, I'm at a networking event or a trade show and I am marketing my company and someone says, oh yeah, I'm Jared Smith with Layton Construction, or let's make him an owner, I work for BYU. And then I'll like, oh, nice to meet you, I'll get the card, and then never follow up. It goes nowhere, 50% of the time. It's amazing. 25% of people will contact, maybe reach out one more time, but then if it goes nowhere, they forget about them. Only 10% of business development people make more than 3 contacts. So go to the other side. Percentage of sales. I'm just going to do the top 2. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. That cold call. Hey, Jared, want to come to work for Layton? Jared doesn't ever call you back, and you never call back. It's not going to happen, generally. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. Now, I don't mean reach out and touch somebody, contact. I mean, you have to get to where they're at. You have to see, okay, I want to work for Kaiser Permanente. Where are they speaking? Is there a networking event where they're, or an educational opportunity where they're going to be presenting? And I can go learn about what's important to them. Then I need to find someone in the industry. Hey, architecture partner, do you know Gary Gillio at Kaiser Permanente? I really would like to get to know him. I have to ask 6 or 8 architecture firms. Maybe one will know him and one will say, oh yeah, Gary, great guy. He's probably better over coffee. He doesn't like to eat lunch. So then when I reach out to Gary for my first point of contact, because I've done a little homework, I've attended a group where he was speaking on, I found someone who knows him, and now I'm reaching out to Gary. Hey Gary, Whitney here. Let's grab coffee next week. Maybe a little bit about my company, but not too much, because then it just becomes a sales pitch and no one wants to read all that in an email on your first contact. Gary says yes. We meet for coffee. Gary gives me 30 minutes because Gary has no idea whether or not I'm going to be a waste of his time. He gives me 30 minutes. I talk with Gary. I don't even start talking about work. Hey Gary, where are you from? Where do you live? You got a family? Have any kids? They in college? What do they do? I don't even talk about work because that will come. What comes first is a relationship. So I get to know Gary. Then I find out Gary's into NASCAR, and his daughter's having a birthday next week. So guess what? Next week I send him a little note. Hey, happy birthday to your daughter. Maybe even send her a little trinket of something. I don't know, a little something just to say, hey, I remember it's her birthday. I remember that's important to you. Whatever. Then you follow back up with Gary, and then you say, hey Gary, there's an event coming up. We're sponsoring. Layton Construction is speaking at this event in San Francisco this week. We'd love for you to come join us. Gary comes down. Gary then gets a little bit more insight on Layton, right? Now I haven't had to sell it to him. Our people sold it to him. And then I follow back up with Gary. And again, it takes 12 to 15 times, and it takes a long time. A business development relationship building is not just, hey, can I get your work? It's a long process of getting to know people and following up with them. How exhausting does that sound, or does it sound like a lot of fun?
Yes.
Exactly. It is both. A big part of business development is networking. It's speaking. It's coming here. It's meeting folks like yourself saying, come work for us. It's volunteering. You know, it's the most meaningful aspect of my job as a business development person is that I get to get out and have fun in our communities and with our clients. We sponsor races. A lot of our companies hold 5Ks. We will put a team together and we'll go run. We'll do T-shirts. We'll go speak and educate. We'll throw parties where we're including our clients. We had a big St. Patty's Day party in Nashville for some of our clients a few weeks ago, and it costs money, it costs time, and it's coordination. It's a lot of people. Habitat for Humanity, toy drives, ACE mentoring program. How many people did the ACE mentoring program through high school here? Anyone? No one. Wow. Do they have it here? Maybe in Idaho, we should look. Maybe a lot of you aren't from Idaho, but ACE mentoring is excellent. It's basically the architecture, engineering, and construction team building while you're in high school. So it's a really good program. We spend a lot of time and money with those students, again, because then they go to college, and then we're tracking them along the way. We want to meet them in high school. We want to cultivate them through college, and then we want to hire them as soon as they graduate. So we get to do a lot of meaningful things that we're giving back. We're educating. We're giving our time, our money, our effort. And it's just really impactful, but again, it all takes a lot of time and coordination to do that. Business development. So Guy Hill here, before he became a business development helper, he would tell you that all the business development people have fun. They go to nice dinners, they have coffee, they golf all day, they just hoop it up, have a good time. They don't work. Well, now he knows better. And you will realize that as you grow in your industry and you see your business development people, they do like to talk about all the fun they get to have, but they don't talk about how grueling it truly is. So this is just a quick snapshot of a day in the life of me. Again, a lot of clients have back-to-back meetings all day, so you're best getting them at 7 a.m. So 7 a.m. coffee, first client meeting. As soon as that's over, I'm in my car en route to my next meeting, and I'm not driving and reading email, but I will pull over and company policy, right? But I'm checking my emails in between, and I'm filtering phone calls and text messages, and look, oh my gosh, clients immediately. If you don't immediately get back to them, they're calling you, they're emailing you, they're texting you, they'll Facebook you. I mean, it's like, give me a minute, I'm in a meeting, you know? But they find ways to get to you. And the amount of information that's coming at you, I can walk out of an hour meeting and have 50 text messages, 4 voicemails, and now I'll have a short amount of time to get back to these, right? So, meanwhile, what's most important, I have 2 proposals in that go into clients today, one worth $100 million. I got to get that proposal, I got to review it, the marketing team has helped me put it together. I need to make sure we did everything we said we were going to do in it, review it, make a few tweaks, make a few changes, send it off to the printer, get it off to the client. Then I'm walking into a 10 a.m. meeting with an architect or an engineer, and we're partnering. We're talking about, hey, what's the next project you're chasing? Or, hey, there's this job we're working on. How's it going? How can we do better? You have to cultivate all these touch points. Maybe you are mentoring someone, or maybe you're a mentee. Maybe it's a board meeting. I sit on 1 national board and 3 local boards. They all focus on different things, but board involvement is another big deal because your company's getting involved, you are getting involved, you're making a meaningful impact to the market you're working in. Then I have a lunch. Then I have a 12 o'clock with another client. Here I'm talking about what's going on, what's the latest with the kids, how's the wife, whatever. How about opportunities? What's coming up? What can we look at for you? What should I start thinking about when I need manpower? You know, in 3 months maybe you have a job coming up. Where should I start looking to place our people? Then 2 o'clock you're hitting a networking event. Maybe you've sponsored, maybe you're just attending. We sponsor a lot, we attend a lot, and we speak at many of those things. So then you're going. Again, you're on display. Remember that exhausting word I said? It can be very exhausting because now you got to get up there and you got to put a smile on and talk to people and tell them how great you are. But it's so rewarding because at the end of the day, you're getting to build infrastructure. You're a part of infrastructure that's building the world. It's building the community. And for me, it's healthcare. So I'm getting the opportunity to build hospitals where people go for life and for death. And it's a place that helps you extend your life sometimes, you know, and where babies are born. It's very meaningful to give back and build health hospitals. And that's what I love most about this industry. I know a lot of our folks focus on other things, not so much residential, but a lot of corporate and stadiums, but not residential. And then 4 o'clock, I'm checking some more emails, returning some missed calls. 6 o'clock, client dinner. 8 o'clock, I'm home with my family, catching up, making sure everyone's fed and in bed. And then at 10 o'clock, I'm getting in the bed, and before I go to sleep every night, I think about the top 3 things I have to get done tomorrow. There's going to be a list of 30 every day, but there's 3 things that I have to do before I do anything else. And that was a little tidbit given to me right out of college, and I would tell you that it's been the most important thing I've ever done because life is busy, tasks come at you, your list gets long. If you do the first 3 things, you're usually making an impact. And then last, let's see, we're almost done. Sheryl Sandberg, she wrote a book. She's wrote several books now. She's a pretty incredible woman, but she talks about how you manage personal life and professional life and how truly it's possible. And there was a time in my career where I couldn't have children, and I thought, I can't have kids because I'm on the road 200 days a year. So then I came off the road. I quit. I left the construction industry, and I went to work somewhere where I was working 8 to 5, and I was home, and I hated it. I was miserable. But then after reading her book and talking to a few life coaches, I realized I can get back into the industry and do what I love and have a family and do all those things I thought that I couldn't do. But what she says here, it's kind of a long one, but basically don't miss opportunities. Your career is not a ladder. It's a zigzag. It's a jungle gym. It's not, there's times where you might even take a step back to go a step forward. When I left my one construction company in Nashville, Tennessee to move to Layton, it was a lateral move. Lateral. Just a little bit of increase in cost in my salary, but that was because the cost of living was a little bit more expensive in Utah. I did not make a huge jump in my salary, and I still made the move. And because I did that, right, I've been able to grow pretty quickly, but it's zigzag. Don't give up. And this is just a part of what I do. Adam gave me a great intro, but I am on a job site. I do go to job sites weekly, sometimes daily. I'm involved. This is our office ribbon cutting in San Jose. Speaking. This is the Women in Construction. I hosted an event. I moved to a new market, couldn't meet many good people, and so I started this women in the AEC industry group, and just founded my own. If there wasn't a group that I felt was beneficial for me, I founded my own group, and then met people and invited them. And this was the start. This was the first year. Now there's 150 women in that group. But I guess the point is business development is not easy, but it's very meaningful. And your companies are not going to grow if you are not out selling, or if there's someone in that spot selling. But then if you guys aren't interested in business development and you want to go into the field, you have a responsibility in business development as well. And so be sure you're asking, how can you help? I have lists and presentations about how our field staff, our project teams can do business development. Take every OAC meeting where we're having a meeting where the whole architect, engineer, construction company and owner comes to the table. Bring donuts. It's so small. It's such a simple gesture. Bring donuts. If we're working in an operating facility and we rattle the room, and we just disrupt some patients, send them flowers. We don't care. If it makes the immediate pain go away, send them $30 worth of flowers. Whatever it takes to let them know you care about them and that they're important to you and you want to do business with them, I think is most important. So I've rattled for 45 minutes and no one said a word. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys now to ask me questions. Yes.
So it sounds like personality goes a lot into it.
Mm-hmm.
What training do you guys provide for upcoming business development?
So yeah, we were actually just talking about that at lunch, how currently there's not a program for interns to intern in a business development role. So I think that brings up, because I could use a ton of them. I could put like 6 interns to work right now. So I'm going to get with Jared on how we do that. But there's no real hands-on training. Our encouragement would be go to the field, get some experience, get some exposure, figure out what you want to do. But it really is driven on personality. Because you got to be a chameleon. You have to be able to roll with people for hours at a time that you maybe wouldn't be hanging out with if you didn't have to. And you have to be able to communicate on their level. I'm high energy. There's some of my clients who, they hate that. They're just like, oh, God, you're too much. You give me a heart attack when you come in. So I have to just slow down and make sure I speak really slowly and that I articulate clearly. I have to change. And that's not easy. I would say it's either you got it or you don't. However, in our business unit, we have about, I'm just going to throw a number, I think maybe 8 business development people. I am the only one who came straight out of business development. The rest of them came from the field. They were estimators, they were pre-construction managers, they were superintendents even, who are some of our top business development people. So it's just a will to talk, to get to know people and be comfortable in that, What else? Taylor? I know you have a good one. That's the only name I know in the room right now, other than Alfonso. Great prayer. Awesome.
As far as education, if you decide to try to go towards the business development side, would you encourage getting a master's degree? And if so, what would that master's degree be in?
I've often questioned myself on that. I don't have a master's degree. I've often wanted to do it, probably more for myself, because in our industry, the AEC industry, which what we like to call it, architecture, engineering, construction, it's not a big differentiator in your pay. It's not. It's good to have, of course, but it doesn't really change your pay, and it doesn't change, let's face it, I went to school to be a pilot. I couldn't fly a plane today if I wanted to. So true story. But I did take some marketing classes, even though I really didn't know what they were at the time. I got a little bit of feel for how people interact, and oh my gosh, I remember the speaking classes. I would freak out when I had to go and speak in front of my class. It was like the most intimidating thing. I hated it, and here I am doing it, right? So I think college and that education is very important. It's definitely a stepping stone. But business development and a lot of the technical side you're going to learn in the field and in your internships. And I would encourage you, keep on Adam, keep on me, keep on Jared about the opportunity of teaming you up with business development people on some of your internships, because it impacts the whole life cycle of a company. You have nothing to build if we're not out selling. So, Jared, would you add anything else to his question about education?
Echo what you said, master's degree or beyond a 4-year degree, not a big change in how you would career grow in the construction management industry. Later on in life, if you're getting up to that VP or senior level, some go back and get a master's degree, but it's not, I would say getting that 4-year degree and getting experience is number one. Both operational wise and BD wise is the key there.
And we were even talking about superintendents, maybe 10 years ago when I came out of school, 12 years ago, you didn't have to have a college degree to be a superintendent. Well, in today's world, with technology and the building information modeling, all that's required. I mean, a degree it's prominent. It's very important, no matter what role you're taking on in the construction field. So, for sure. Yes?
Does Layton have an in-house design department, or do they outsource that to another company?
Design.
Design, drafting.
Yeah. No, we have an internal building information modeling team. So the architect designs it, and then we'll load it up in a BIM model. But we don't design anything. We are purely a construction management firm. Yes.
So, what sets Layton apart from other construction companies? Like, more specifically, like our GPA set us apart, our internships, our experience set us apart. What sets you guys apart from Jacobson or?
Yeah.
Come at 6 o'clock and I'll tell you.
I think the big thing, I'll tell you my number one, and I'll tell this to you. I wouldn't use this as a selling point to clients, but we are a $2 billion company. We have 1,000+ employees, and we are key employee owned. So what that means is there's not one person at the top getting all the gravy for how hard we're working. It's discretionary by our leadership. Who's producing? Who cares most about not just business development, but marketing and human resources and giving back to the community and doing things outside of just their job description? Who are those people? And those people should be rewarded for that. So then you're offered, there's a small pot, of course, but offered ownership. And that ownership is not often found in construction companies these days. They're usually solely owned, or they're an ESOP where every employee has ownership, and that's good. But you know what?
Watered down.
It's watered down. Yeah. So that's why I would say that's why I'm at Layton today. That's why I'm still here. I'm an owner, and usually you'd never come in as an owner. You have to come in, even if you're a top recruit, you got to prove yourself. And my goal was owner within 3 to 5 years to be offered that. But I was offered in 18 months, and nothing was given to me. They didn't hand me over 5,000 shares of stock. No, it was, hey, we would like to offer you ownership. Here's the price. And I had to invest my own money into the company. And so now it's my own personal investment. It's my financial investment. And you better believe I'm going to work hard for a company that I believe in, where that's my investment, So that's what differentiates Layton from a personnel side. From a construction side, I would say we're a big old family. I mean, truly, Jared's in Utah.